owned maybe by Nike or owned by the Packers or owned by the Browns or something like that. I'm not going to sit here and we can figure out the business of it on a different podcast. I'm just saying that ultimately Ohio State, it's still Ohio State. It's still the Buckeyes. It's still affiliated with the University of Ohio State, but it is not part of the NCAA.
Co-branding, yeah. I mean, let's just stop pretending that Ohio State football is anything like Colgate football.
Yeah. Or if Ohio State football is anything like Ohio State women's
University,
like it's not. Say that Ohio State football players are the same as like Ohio State women's lacrosse. I'm not shitting on Ohio State women's lacrosse; probably a great team, but there's a difference between like these other collegiate sports and college football. College football makes money for the university.
Billions of college football makes more money than a lot of mainstream businesses. I mean, we're not Amazon and Google, but like it makes more than Meijer.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a $1 billion industry.
So here is what we propose, okay, is that we are going to take the best, was it 32? I think we did 32 T2 teams.
No, we're open to that. It's in the 30 to 40 range.
You're doing away with conferences. You're just wiping out. Big Ten is gone, Big 12 gone, ACC gone. All of it's done. And those still exist for college basketball. I think they have a place there. I think that's a well-run machine right now and stuff. Maybe you look into that later, but it's
for the buses. It's for those charter buses, so they don't have to go too far.
You're still we've done our best with what we're about to present to you. We've done our best with keeping things like geography locked. So you're still playing in a region, much like the NFL divisions. You're still playing in a region, and
North,
for that
South,
reason,
East, West.
Yep. And for that reason, you're still going to get like a feel of what the conference is used to for this. But just not everybody's going to make it. So I'm going to read through. I'm going to go division by division. Okay. So we're going to start with the division.
Who are your blue bloods that are in?
We've got first division: Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas, and Kansas State.
Kansas?
So, I know.
Kansas over Baylor?
With Baylor's sanctions,
year,
though.
Yeah.
With all the sanctions.
You're also looking at, there is an element to this of tradition and an element to this of like what that stadium can pull in for sponsorship and everything else too.
To start. Well, this is our starting point. We want the blue bloods in start.
Just because you could even make the same argument about Texas this year. I mean, they're horrible, and but they have to. How could you do this without Texas?
But here's the good thing: Baylor,
or A&M, or Texas Tech.
They could play their way in.
They would be a perfect example for like the first year. Like Baylor could be the first team that gets up, and
A&M,
and maybe Kansas gets relegated.
Maybe Kansas State.
But Kansas State has shown, I think, over the last 10 years or so that they're a serious football team, right? So let's move on to the next one. That was the first one. Again, that's Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas, and Kansas State. So there's 6 in each of these divisions, I think.
So the one leaving out maybe is A&M, right?
Yeah. Let's see if we didn't. Did we not?
I don't know. Let's move on.
Yeah, because let's go through them all first, then we'll go back and find the ones we missed. Because I think we might have gotten a little tricky with some of the ways we grouped these. Okay, the next one, USC, UCLA. I like this division a lot. USC, UCLA, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, and Arizona.
It's pretty solid. I mean, there's obviously
kind of the best to the West.
The Washington State, Arizona State that didn't make, but then they could also play in.
We got Hurts going to Arizona State. Time we were creating this, Herm Edwards wasn't on the radar. Arizona State was maybe going to be losing their head coach. So.
No Stanford.
Those first 3 are locked. I think we do get to them. I think we get to Stanford. Those first 3 are locks, right? USC, UCLA, Oregon. Like that makes a ton of sense.
I think Washington might be a lock too.
I do too. Yeah, they've been solid.
I think Arizona's a lock. Yep. Arizona Wildcats
and Oregon State is didn't have a great year this year.
Thing. Oregon State you could put up there with Stanford. You could put up there with Arizona State. Kind of our 6th wild card.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm open to that.
Next, here's the big one. Here's a huge one, a classic one, the Big Ten one. You've got Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Penn State.
No Nebraska.
No Nebraska.
Nebraska's fallen by the wayside, guys.
They were blue blood.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but they got to do it in this decade.
I think Nebraska could unseat Iowa in this situation.
Maybe that Iowa
you know what I
mean?
mean?
But other than that, it's solid.
Who would you put in over Iowa?
That's the debatable one. Iowa's
Nebraska.
not bad. Nebraska, you could do.
All right, let's finish these out, and we'll go back. We'll say what we missed on
People
on each
missing.
one. Okay, so here's SEC country, the South Division 1, I guess. Here we got Bama, Florida, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn. Strong.
All blue bloods. Definitely missing a.
Maybe not Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays maybe not Tennessee.
Other than that-
maybe we're missing a Texas A&M. We're missing a
That's true.
Florida State
That could be where you're missing a Texas A&M.
right there.
Yeah,
Florida State over Florida.
I think we have Florida State in the next one.
Oh yeah, because we did an
It's not
ACC. Yeah.
Yeah, we have it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of the next one, Clemson, Florida State, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Dame, and Ole Miss.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's a fun one. This is a fun conference to me. This we kind of picked apart, right? Like we took ACC, we took some of the Big 12, we took some of the Mountain. I think on this one, like we made a little bit of a hodgepodge.
This is pretty much an ACC +1 with the Ole Miss in there, and Ole Miss.
Is
maybe
West Virginia
they're-
ACC these days?
No, Big 12.
Big 12.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad.
I didn't. I honestly didn't. Okay, last one. Oh no, we just have two. No. Okay, yeah, last division. This is crazy. We have D State, South Carolina, Texas A&M, North Carolina, and this is like
That's all
the
over.
toughest division, right? Like this is
So yeah, I think Nebraska, Arizona State, Washington State are still my standouts for like snubs.
who's it? Say again.
Nebraska, Arizona
Stanford.
State, Washington State, Stanford.
Yeah,
So we're a little East Coast bias here.
for sure.
So wait, how many teams have we outlined there though?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32, 33, 33, 35.
We push this up to 40 and include those blue bloods that we've been about.
Another program that we left out completely was BYU, who can be competitive.
Bring them young.
That's true.
It's true.
They would be in that best of the West, right?
Yeah.
Conference, perhaps.
So you go kind of 10
Stanford,
West,
BYU,
10 South,
Utah?
10 Utah too.
Now, how would you approach playoffs for this setup, right? So let's say we land on whether it's 40 teams or it's not. Each division seems to have about 6 teams in it. Do you take the top 2 like hockey? You take the top 2 of each like division and you start your.
Well, let's talk about what the season looks like. Do they play within a division type?
Would they play? Yeah, would they play each other twice in a year?
No. They have to. So it depends. If we go 6 to 10, if we have 4 divisions of 10, or if we have 6 divisions of 6 to 7, I think we might have to go 4 divisions of 10, in which you would play each team in your division once, and then you could schedule
3, 2, maybe 2
two
out
or
of
three,
conference.
but within this NFLU realm, no Mercers.
It would also be really cool if the way they did it was sort of the NFL, where the
Round
NFL
robin.
has like the like relationships each year. Like this year, the AFC North is playing the NFC North,
Right.
And so each year, like your 2 teams will be like a North versus South challenge or something, and that's how you kick off college football in like big fashion. So
That's your warm up game.
your warm up game is Ohio State versus Texas. It's TCU versus Michigan State. All of those, no matter how you shake it, like those first 2 could end up being the most interesting games of the season. And then you get into your conference play, which is good conference play every game. It's not playing Illinois. It's Michigan State, or it's Michigan, or it's Iowa, or it's Penn State.
Plus, think about the TV ratings. You have a Thursday night game up against NFL. Why not?
Absolutely.
Because it's a TV agreement.
Well, it could be a TV agreement with competing networks. ESPN does not have a Thursday night contract with the NFL. You put a Thursday night college game, put a Friday night college game.
What if
games
Fox
day
got all
Saturday.
these? Fox had this. This is a Fox.
All Fox.
This is how they do it.
Fox
Right, hey,
CBS.
lately we've been living in a 4 or 5 network world. We're about to enter a brave new world. There are hundreds of networks. People aren't going to be locked into television contracts with cable companies. It's all going to be the wide open West. Wow.
And imagine this, for God's sake. Imagine if this entity, whatever we're creating here, the NFLU or whatever you want to call this, like the new NCAA, had its own app. And that's the only way you could watch the games. It had its own, because as cable dies and the last stalwart thing standing in the way of cable dying is sports. You know, if this became like available on Netflix or
Look at
became
what happened
available on
to
Hulu or
The Big Ten Network launched, and it did its own thing for a
Shook
couple
things
of
up.
years, and people were like, Well, you know what? The Big Ten Network does hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue now.
Yep.
They do.
So this could be, but that you would have big fights. I mean, the whole business side of this thing is something we'd have to break down in another podcast because you'd have big fights for the.
Well, they
those
all want the
networks.
money.
Let's take it away from the business side and let's go back to tradition of college football and rivalry games.
Yeah.
Will we preserve rivalries?
For sure. I think we have for the most part, right?
That's
Just by how we've broken this up.
Are there any rivalries? I mean, other than like Army Navy or something stupid like that?
Oh, there's
Are
a
there
ton.
Are there rivalries outside of who we've discussed, like beyond in the Big Ten? Are there rivalries?
Like Texas is still going to play Oklahoma. Yeah, we'd have to find a way to get
River.
Stanford in this best of the West. I think we could probably remove Arizona from the best of the West and put Stanford in the
Or
start.
Oregon State.
Or Oregon State.
Remove Oregon State.
Yep.
Put Stanford in there, best of the West.
Yep. I think. Yeah.
Since we have, Big Ten is huge on their trophy games and all that.
Yeah, like Wisconsin wouldn't be able to play Minnesota with the way that this is set
A
up.
lot of those are dried up.
Yeah, but
Yep.
those are words on a screen, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio State,
Yeah, the Illy Buck. What the fuck? No, we've never even cared.
You've
Have we
had it
ever
out of
cared about the
tradition.
Illy Buck? I mean,
Well, we
I
care about it
have-
when we lose and when we're going for a big title.
I only
and we
care
lose.
because it's our only trophy.
so yeah, because you still have. Ooh, I mean, Florida State. We have them in different divisions right now, but that could be
still
they're out of
play.
conference. That could happen for sure.
Could
I
we
think
preserve like
rivalries.
one or two rivalry games? Since Notre Dame, they have the most rivalries of anybody. They have Michigan, they have USC.
Oh,
A
hey,
little bit
I
on Michigan.
I just found a slight oversight. Where's Miami? Miami Hurricanes.
Ooh, big oversight. They'd have to be in Clemson, FSU,
Oh, yeah.
West Virginia,
Right in
Virginia
there.
Tech, Notre Dame, Miss. Who do we?
You bump Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just do. You bump Ole Miss
bump Ole
for
Miss.
sure. Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
We're in the middle of a recording.
you still recording?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks. Good talk. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my wife, Kendall, makes frequent appearances on the show.
She's
As a friend of the show.
Superintendent of the building.
The superintendent of the building. We have not paid our rent for a long time. So what do we think about this, guys? Is this something that you think
Yeah.
would interest you in college ball, or is this something that would wreck it, or is this all positives? Yeah.
I think idea's right. I think I'd want to do basically you keep the Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, SEC, and then
At large.
Just lose the Big 12.
yeah, you'd have to have four like 16 team conferences with 2 8-team divisions. The winner of each division plays in the conference championship, and the winner of that goes in the playoff. Is what the general idea is. 6 to 10 team conferences doesn't seem like it.
It's not enough.
I do like the realignment, though.
Yeah, I
that
think you have
aspect.
4 major conferences, and then the winner of that
With
goes
like
in the playoff.
12.
Goes to playoff.
like
12 to
no
the
matter
16.
what, the winner of that, no matter what,
Like
you don't
the
even
NFL
care
does.
about all this record and all this crap anymore. If you win it, if banged up and you're a 4-loss team, but you win it,
Right.
and it just happened to be a tough conference that year, because that's the only way that would happen.
And there's no
then
more of this
you're
debate
in.
of strength of schedule, head to head, all this stuff. It's simple. It's straightforward. There's no controversy.
I think this is simplifying.
The
it.
winner
I mean,
gets
this
in.
is making an NFL style
right. So you'd have
organizational approach.
64 teams, maybe 4 16-team conferences with
That's
8
still
team
better.
divisions.
I mean, it's still better than what we have
And then
right
yeah,
now.
you would have all great games. I mean, so you still might have a Minnesota in there or a Oregon State, but
Minnesota can be good, and Oregon
They're
State
good?
can be
They
good.
kind of play
they
up
have-
into
it's simple.
Yeah.
You know what you need to do if you want to make the play.
Think
win
about
your
actually
conference.
to that point too. Like even having a Minnesota in here or an Oregon State, like a team that's like they can be good, they cannot be good. Think about how much this would help their recruiting immediately. Like it'd be easier for you to go out and recruit somebody as a Minnesota who's part of this conference than it might be right now for Minnesota.
Well, we're
to go and
already
recruit
down the
somebody.
road toward this way. We have the FCS and the FBS, and you're still allowed to schedule out of it, but I think we're kind of moving more and more toward it.
I agree. Yeah.
Or people would argue you might have to do an 8-team playoff now.
I also think
Situation.
I know we're not getting into like
You did 6. What if you had 2 automatics?
Get a bye. You
Oh,
might want to
6.
have 2 at large. Yeah.
and then you just have best record overall, and maybe that's what a committee helps to decide. Still, you still like
Who are the
maintain
two?
some of that. And
Or-
who are the two?
One of the division winners. So let's say, Ohio State, Michigan play in the conference championship and they're undefeated, then that team